All right, so here we are. We are ready to start building out our pages. And so here we have our API built out. Okay. And if we wanted to use a framework, a front end library such as React or Vue or Angular, this would be a good place to implement uh, those dependencies into the project uh, and build it out that way. We're not going to do that as of yet. Okay. We're going to stick with just the back end. And with that, we're going to build out our pages uh, using server side rendering, which is where we are building out the templates and the design, everything on the back end, and then rendering that to the client. And with that, we're going to use EJS. And you should have already installed EJS. That was one of the first things that we did for this project. We installed EJS. So we're actually going to use it now. We're also going to use Axios now for these two things. So let's get started. Now we're going to be building out again like a home page, a header, footer, and then pages for the different endpoints. Okay, and we'll also do a single page for each one as well. So in other words, we'll have a hero page that will display all of the heroes, and then we'll have a hero single page where you click on the hero on the heroes page and it'll go to the individual hero page. All right, so always with these, I like to start off with a home page. So I'm going to make a home.ejs. So that's going to go inside of my views folder. And in my views folder, I'm going to need two folders, pages and partials. So currently right now, my views doesn't have anything inside of it. So in here in views, you want to create two folders, one called pages and one called partials. I'm going to build it out here in the terminal, but you can do it in Visual Studio Code should you so choose. So these are folders. So I'm going to say make dir views slash pages and views slash partials. Okay. And now I want to, inside of my partials, I'm going to make a header and footer.ejs. We are using EJS for this project. If you are more comfortable with using, say, handlebars or mustache or pug or one of the other templates, views templates, by all means, go ahead and use that again for this project. We're using EJS. So I'm going to say touch views slash pages slash home.ejs. I'm going to say views slash partials slash header.ejs and views slash partials slash footer.ejs. So touch views slash partial views slash pages slash home.ejs, views slash partials slash header.ejs, views slash partials slash footer.ejs. Those are what we're starting off with. All right, cool. Got those together. Here's my views. There's the pages and partials. There's a home.ejs and there's a partials.ejs. So I'm going to use Bootstrap for this. You don't have to use Bootstrap. I'm going to do it to handle like some heavy lifting on my layouts. So I'm gonna come over here to my home.ejs and I'm gonna start this up like I would any other HTML document. So HTML:5. And here I have my my little load up or whatever. So now let me go to Bootstrap. Also, if you want to Feel free to use Google Fonts if you want to, but I may use that. I don't know. This isn't really the focus on the lesson, so I may or may not use that. So I'm going to add the CDN for the CSS as well as the JavaScript. And I'm going to put those in their appropriate places. So this is going to be my header. Well, this is going to be my home page, but I'm going to gut this up. So I like to start off building out my header, give it a class header, give it an ID of header. I'm going to do a main, give it a class main. This one's going to be home main. And do a footer, give it a class footer, give it an ID of footer. All right. And what I'm going to do now that I have that, and I just start here, okay, what I'm going to do is, and, I can just simply come over here, and I'm going to put square brackets, and I'm just going to put main, like so, because that's all I want to display for right now. We're going to come back to this un momento. I just want to get something here. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to go to router.js, going to configure it to where it connects, and then we'll come back and start adding content or configuring the content, if you will. So here we got this inside of home.ejs. We'll come back to this. We're going to pause. We'll come over here to router. And we can see right here in our router.js file, we have one path right now, and that is to the API. So in other words, localhost 3000 /API, and that's going to take us there to the API. So we need to, let's build out a home page. I'm going to do that below this information here. I believe that's what I want to do. So this is going to be my home page. Okay. So I'm going to say router.get, and it's just going to be a slash. Okay. In other words, this is localhost 3000. And it's going to take up, not square brackets, that's silly. It's going to take a request and response. And what we're going to do, we're going to render the response. So we're going to say response.render. And this response.render method takes 2 arguments. I'll make a comment right here. Response.render takes 2 arguments. The first argument is a path, or in other words, what is the location, if you will, on this project that we're going to. So what is the path? And the second argument is an object. An object, what are we rendering? So the path is where are we rendering? Let me add that. So the path is where are we rendering? And then the object is what are we rendering? So those 2 things go inside response.render. All right, so first thing we need is our path, okay? And the path that we want to render this home page. So the path is going to be pages/home.ejs. Well, I don't have to say .ejs. I can just say as a string pages/home. And I don't have to say which extension, because again, the extension, it doesn't have to be EJS. If we were using another view template, we would use that extension. So here, pages home, that's the first argument, the path, and then the second argument is the object. What are we rendering? So we're going to add a title. And the title, I'll just say home page or just home. The name, I'm going to name my hero website. And that's all that we're going to render for right now. We could add more stuff if we wanted to, but that's all I'm going to render. Okay. We can revisit this, but this is a good start. Just want to get it connected. So now that I got that, now I'm going to go back to home. Okay. And I see everything that's listed here. I can open up my browser and I'm going to go to localhost 3000 and hit enter. And there right now I see main. Okay, so that does work. So it did render the correct home page because now I'm seeing main. If you're not seeing main, make sure that you're using EJS as an extension. Make sure that your home.ejs file is in pages, and pages is inside of views. And then check your spelling syntax again. You can go back and pause the video, whatever, or rewind it, pause it, and then check and make sure that you have what I have. Okay, so now that I got that, I'm going to hear my title. I'm going to pass in whatever title is. So here I'm using EJS syntax. So that is going to be the chevron with the percent symbol. And then here I need to use the equal sign because this is just an output. In other words, just printing out whatever title is. You can think of this as something like echo or console.log or print, something of that nature. So here, I'm going to pass in title, and instead of main, well, I'll leave that there for right now. So now if I come back and refresh this, if I look here at the tab, right now it says document. When I refresh, now it reads home. Cool. All right. Now what I want to do, I'm going to take everything from the closing header tag on up. I'm going to select all of it, and then I'm going to cut it. So Command or Control X, and I'm going to place that inside of my header.ejs file. So add that right there like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to home.ejs, and everything from my opening footer all the way down, I'm going to take all of that, select it all, cut that, and then paste it in my footer.ejs. And now when I come back and refresh this browser, you can see the styling here. It is Bootstrap styling. When I refresh this, and then it goes to like the default styling, what have you. All right. So good to go for right now. Let's come over here to our header.ejs. And what we're going to do is we're going to come into this header. We're going to add some things here. I'm going to make a container. Again, I'm just using Bootstrap here. I'm going to make a row, and then I'm going to make a column. I'll say MD-5. And inside of here, I'm going to make an H1. I'm going to give it a display-1. And I'm also going to give it to inject the name right there. Just like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another column. So this is going to be column MD-7. And you can handle your layout however you choose. It's totally up to you. This one, I'm just doing this one right here. I'm going to make a nav. I'm going to give it a class nav. Gonna give it a class top dash nav, give it an ID a top nav. And let's see, I'm gonna do some other styling here. So if I'm using nav, that means it has display flex. So then what I'll do is I will say justify content center. So on small devices, it'll be centered. And then I'll say justify content MD dash end. So I'm moving devices on up. It'll be all the way to the right. Yeah, just go with that. And I'm going to start off with a home link. So in other words, I'll be able to click on this and it'll take me to the home page. So I'll do an anchor tag, give it a class nav dash link. I can also give it a class top dash nav dash link. And my href is just going to be just a trailing, well, just a slash. And here I will type home. I'm also going to add a class text dash uppercase here. So we're just going to start off with this right now. And for right now, that's good. I'm going to come over here to my footer. And in my footer, I'm going to make a container. And I'm just going to add my colophon in here. And just leave it at that. So that's the only thing I got in my footer. You can build out your own colophon if you want to. And I just, I made a snippet for this just because I felt like it. All right. Now, again, I come back over here and I refresh and still the same thing. Just the main sitting right there. So now on my home page, I'm going to say in here, I'm going to include my header. And so to include, I use EJS and it is a chevron, the percent symbol, and a dash. And then we're going to include, and this is going to just output whatever's in here. And I need to go .. because I'm going out of pages, going into partials, and then slash, I need my header. And be sure to close your EJS. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my footer. Partials slash footer. So here I'm just including my header and my footer. What I'm going to do here inside of main, I'm going to make a container. Let's spell it correctly. And I'll just, for right now, I'll just say make an H2. It just says, welcome to my page or my home page. It's subject to change. I mean, you can, I can build this out however I want to. That's what I got right now. Okay. And when I refresh, there I can see my hero website real big because I use that display one. Welcome to my home page. There's my footer and there's my home link. Okay, you can see it's pushed all the way over to the right. If I inspect this and looking on a mobile device, so this is an iPhone 4, you can see that my home is centered. So cool, good start. Yeah, let's pause right here. Yeah, pause right here and then allow you to get the material as you need it to make sure that your home page is working. And then after this, on the next video, we'll start working with the heroes. We'll do that one. All right, so I will see you there.